This video is dedicated to those who wish to establish a customer success program but have not done so yet. I'd like to share a framework that could allow you to accelerate your ability to prove value to customers, increase retentions, and grow expansion selling. Before we start, I'd like to remind everyone, subscribe to our YouTube channel for all the great videos that we produce on customer success. Hello, my customer success friends. This is Irit Eizips, Chief Customer Officer and CEO for CSM Practice, the customer success consulting firm. This video is dedicated to those who wish to establish a customer success program but have not done so yet. In case you're really interested in getting started, I'd like to share a framework that could help you just set up some basic things and allow you to accelerate your ability to prove value to customers, increase retentions, and grow expansion selling. The framework that I'm going to share is included of 3 things that combine the fundamentals of customer success. When you get started, you want to start with the pure fundamentals, such as defining the charter for customer success, map out the customer lifecycle journey map, define the KPIs. How are you going to prove value, not just to customers, but also internally to your executive team and the board? And then really think through 2, 3, 4 years from now, what kind of roles do you need in your customer success organization? And you can just get started. A lot of time we have what we call a unicorn CSM, which really does everything: support, onboarding, customer success. But then over time, these roles needs to be differentiated. All right, so now that you have covered the fundamentals, you really need to think through 3 core elements of customer success: adoption, expansion, and renewals. For the adoption piece, we really want to define the onboarding process. What are you going to do to deliver first value? What are the adoption playbooks to ensure that the customers and all of their end users start using your application or consume your services and solutions? And how is that going to be reiterated and strengthened over the years to come? Lastly, you want to think through usage data. All of that is part of the adoption aspect of creating a strong customer success program. Next, you want to think about the expansions. So once you've got the fundamentals and the adoption of the software or your solution, you want to think through how can you expand value to customers and for yourself. For that, I recommend just starting with the basics. First of all, what are your value playbooks? How are you going to prove value to customers, engage them in value discussions? Usually that comprises of creating a customer success maturity model, bringing it about during either business reviews or annual value planning meetings with your clients and executives and decision makers, creating a success plan. We call that the cycle of value management. How are you going to define whether or not customers are getting maximum value with you, and how can you measure that? We call that value management scoring. And then finally, how are you going to capture what we call CSQL, customer success qualified leads, from different services or customer facing teams within your organization? We call that establishing listening posts and defining a formal process to capture those customer success qualified leads so you can increase expansion. One more element that you may want to consider is blitz campaigns, which is defining an expansion moment in a scalable, proactive manner. So insofar we take a look at the fundamentals, adoption, and expansion. The last piece, of course, is the retention strategy. So beyond thinking through how does the renewal process looks like, we also want to think through the elements that will allow you to forecast renewal at 1 or 2% accuracy levels. There's strategies and methodologies that you can implement and adopt to get you there. Next is the health score, or what we call also risk indicators. The risk indicator is your code red and escalation score. And then with that, whenever some customer is in a red code element, you want to start the escalation process. You want to define both. The health score is essentially a guideline for the CSM to understand what areas or aspects does he need to work with their customer in each one of their accounts to get them to be best in class in their industry using your solution. Finally, you want to definitely develop churn playbooks or customer save playbooks. What happens when a customer is identified as having churn risk? What is the team going to do? And for each one of these elements, there's really 3 perspectives. You want to define the policy of when to use them, the process, which really includes the step-by-step instructions, objection handling, talk tracks, and then the policies, the processes, and what solutions are you going to use to scale those processes and allow you to report against who's adopting these plays, policies, and templates. Are they effective in creating a difference for you? And that really rolls back into the fundamentals. Are your customer success KPIs being impacted by each one of these plays? If they're not, it's time to tweak them. There's more things that you can do with your customer success programs that I believe could be like a second phase type of thing, which is, how are you going to report to the board? How are you going to prove value to different customer success teams? Are you going to collaborate better with the different teams and make sure that everybody's aligned to what you're doing? What is your voice of the customer program? How can you capture and prove value more consistently by capturing moments of value with your clients and work with them to allow them to showcase the value that they're bringing internally to their organization by working with you? When should you do that? How should you do that? All of this needs to be defined in advance. That and many more are things that you need to think through, but the ones that I've shared are the very fundamental things that just to get you started. Those are the aspects. I'm going to share a graphics down below in the comments, and hope that this gets you through your first 90 days or first year. Actually, sometimes it takes longer than 90 days, but it gives you some sort of a roadmap to where to get started. If you have any questions, leave them in a comment. I'll do my best to address them as quickly as I can. Click on the button below to subscribe. Leave a comment if there's any other tips that you would like to recommend to others watching this video. And thank you so much for listening. I'll see you at the next video.